about Kardec, chapter 7, chapter 7, about first period in geological period, first geological period from this planet, okay? So interesting, so much interesting. Today I discover one more detail that after read 4 times a Genesis, I don't pay attention, because when we start to read this and don't observe part by part, we don't learn nothing. And today I discover one more detail so interesting. Then let me clarify here. So much information in Kardec. Let me put this here. So interesting informations. Let me see here. Here. Genesis, I think will open, yes. The primary period, pay attention, so interesting. Why is important you know this? Because if you have children in the school, we'll have a time that the children will learn about formation of this globe in geological information. And in Bible, it's different. In Bible, there are, and God created the world in 7 days. What is 1 day to God? If your children came to you asking, you can ask again to children, what is the time of the God in 1 day? Maybe billions of zillions of years. Because it's important. Create the link with children, with God. And science is not different from God. God don't supply his own laws. Pay attention. The primary period. The first effect of the cooling process was the solidification of the outer surface of the molten mass, which formed a solid crust that was thin at first, but little by little became thicker. Then I was shown, imagine the circle of the world, a great fire, ball of fire, and this was the fire was diminishing and going to the center. Then this is the center, and this is the rest of the globe that was solidified. This crust was composed of extremely hard rock called granite, thus labeled because of its granulated appearance. One may distinguish 3 main substances in it: feldspar, quartz or rock crystal, and mica. This last has a metallic luster, although it's not in fact affect a metal. The granite layer was thus the first to form on the globe, which it encases completely and constitutes a sort of bony framework. It's the different product of consolidated molten matter. It's the direct product of consolidated molten matter. It's upon this layer and in the cavities that appeared on its tortured surface, where the successively deposited strata of other terrains formed afterward. What distinguishes the granite layer from the latter is the absence of any stratification. That is, it forms a compact and uniform mass throughout its thickness, and it's not stratified. The effervescence of the incandescent matter must have produced numerous deep fissures through which this matter poured out. The second effect of the cooling process was the liquefy. Do you remember another? Is an enormous fog. Still the center was in fire. Not with this part that was appearing how solidification was not solidified. The ambient here was a fog, and all elements are still in state of vaporization. Water, metals, and all minerals are all in a state of vaporization. The second effect on the cooling process was to liquefy some of the matter contained in the air in the state of vapor, and which then precipitated onto the surface of the soil. Consequently, there were showers and lakes of sulfur and bitumen, veritable streams of iron, copper, lead, and other molten metals. This matter infiltrated into the fissures to create veins and loads of metals. Can you imagine this? Those metals by fissures in the soil. Under the influence of these various agents, the granite surface underwent alternating decompositions. Mixtures were produced that formed the primitive ground per se, distinct from rock of granite, but in indistinct masses and without regular stratification. Don't have parts distinguished, is only one part solidified. It was with the formation of the granite layer that the series of geological periods began. to which it would be proper to add that of the primitive incandescent state of the globe. Such was the aspect of that primary period, a veritable chaos of all elements mixed together and seeking their place, a period in which no living being could have possibly existed. Thus, one of its distinctive characteristics in geology is the absence of any trace of plant or animal life whatsoever. Is this geological saying? Was this in this period impossible to have plant or animal? It's impossible to assign a definite time frame to that first period, as well as the following ones. However, according to the time needed for a cannonball of a given size, heated to white hot and then cooled off to the point that a drop of water can remain on it in a liquid state. Pay attention how scientists made a calculation of more or less this period having times was this way. According to the time needed for a cannonball of a given size, heated to white hot, and then cooled off to the point that a drop of water can remain on in it a liquid state without be a vapor. It has been calculated that if such a cannonball were the size of the earth, it would take more than 1,000,000 years. They dissolved this cannonball and they until to white hot and then cool it off to the point that a drop of water wood can be a liquid, because here Kardec said when I have conditions the water appear without so much hot temperature. Water appear without, don't vaporize it, because have a lot of rains until was more conditions to water don't evaporate in this time, in this planet, and don't vaporization. They calculated more or less this time using the reason, the logic dot. We can put fire in a globe, but we can put fire in a metal, because was formed by a metal. Here have a lot of minerals, and only after the minerals was less hot, the water wood can be in surface on this planet without evaporation. Then for logic, we can make a cannonball, and with this time, with this size, we can calculate in a great proportion. Oh, how time is necessary to a cannonball be without hot to don't evaporate water. They made this, and then they put this in a proportion of the world, and the answer was more than this take more than a million years. More or less is this. Because this I said, what is the time of the God? What is one day to God? A million of years. More or less is this. But not this, I think is more, because this process is not the process that God said, and then the man appearing. Have in this time, men would appear, don't have conditions. And now this stage that water start to have in your condensed state, not vaporized state, a million years. And after this, we must calculate when appear the life in this planet. Life from animal and plants, because this time don't have. Then maybe one day of God is more than 1 million years. It's so interesting. See the formation of planet by a logical scientific vision. This turned God impossible, his existence. No one argument can make this, can prove that God don't exist. And this ratified the existence of a being that made all chemistry be so calm, and this intelligence, enormous and calculated intelligence, wait how making a great food, wait this food are prepared to receive another resident in this planet. It's marvelous thing in this proportion, and not this information. Don't let we believe that don't exist a great intelligence back on this. Only people that don't want use his logical thought would think in this way. Then I wait to have a great final week thinking this so marvelous information, scientific information that ratify the existence of a great, powerful, and imaginable creator. Until the next. Thank you.